How do you find high-ticket dropshipping suppliers for your business? Well, let's talk about it. Welcome back to the channel, everybody. If you're new, subscribe for daily high-ticket dropshipping content. If you are someone that is serious about building a high-ticket dropshipping business, I recommend checking out my program. The link is in the description below. The current version of the course is being upgraded to 2.0, which comes out on January 30th. Today is the 21st as I am recording this. If you get in now at the current price, you will be grandfathered into the new course, which will be a lot pricier when it comes out. For this video, this might be a shorter one, but this is a really common question that I get. And this is kind of geared more towards beginners that may not understand every aspect of the high-ticket dropshipping business model. And just to clarify, I'm going to mostly specifically talk about US-based / Canada-based high-ticket dropshipping businesses here. So the question is, how do you find suppliers for your high-ticket dropshipping business? Something that I want to set aside right away is, in this business, you should not work with international suppliers, and I'm specifically talking about AliExpress. You should not work with Chinese-based suppliers if you are running a US-based high-ticket dropshipping business. You are going to get cheap products. It's going to be unreliable. It is not a recipe for long-term success in this business model. The way that you succeed in this business model is by leveraging established brands here in the United States or in Canada for that matter, and standing on the shoulders of 50 to 100-year-old brands in your particular niche, leveraging their products, leveraging their name, and advertising it and marketing it yourself on your own business, on your own website that you actually create. What I liken it to is like a Dick's Sporting Goods. Dick's Sporting Goods partners with every big sports brand in the world, but you're like a Dick's Sporting Goods without the physical store. You don't have to house inventory. You can ship directly from the manufacturer or distributor to the customer. And so the question is, I'm not going to make this video a whole lot about like niche selection, but once you've identified a niche that is, I like need-based niches, and it should be obviously unusual. And a lot of my program is about like finding low keyword difficulty niches. Once you've identified what it is you want to do, how do you actually go about finding suppliers for this niche? Well, the easy place to turn to initially is just ChatGPT. The easy thing to do is obviously just ask ChatGPT, give me 30 give me 30 manufacturers that manufacture these products, or similar products to this. So let's say I am making a store for civil engineering equipment, and within civil engineering equipment, that whole niche, there's a lot of different types of products, and so they might not all be different manufacturers in that space might not manufacture every one of those in there. And so in that case, I would go to ChatGPT and I would either ask it specifically to give me manufacturers of every product type or just the niche in general, and I would see just what it gave me. Let's say you're brand new to the business. You don't have any business history and you don't necessarily know like which brands are going to let you in the door and which brands, larger companies are going to be more selective and maybe are going to say no up front. Maybe they want to see more business history. A lot of these companies are going to tell you that you need to have an online store, but it's a lot easier to kind of go back when they say that to you, and not just accept that and say, well, look at what I've done. This is what I think I could do for you too, as far as revenue, as far as the market that I'm serving. Without any business history, you don't have that. And so we want to try and find suppliers that we have a good chance of getting in the door with. And this is something that I walk through step by step in my course. I like using SEMrush, and you can use ChatGPT as well for this. And so I type the keywords in. Let's say it's total stations for surveying. And that's a very common tool in civil engineering. And again, I know this because for the first 2 years of college, I was a civil engineering major. I use these all the time in my coursework. So total stations for surveying, type that keyword in on SEMrush or use ChatGPT and tell it, give me 20 different websites that sell this thing. In SEMrush, it's really useful because it's kind of easy to narrow down who's more established and who's not based on domain authority. So the lower the domain authority, typically the less established the business is, although that's not an absolute blanket rule. And so once I've identified, let's say 5 or 10 low domain authority, anywhere 10 or below, I'm going to go look at those websites. I'm going to take them and I'm going to see how old their domains are. Let's say I find one of them, they're carrying 5 different brands of civil engineering equipment, but the domain is, 6 months old. Well, that tells me this is a dropshipping website, and I can probably verify it by looking around at the website itself. If there's no specific information about a shipping location, a warehouse, a facility, it's probably a high-ticket dropshipping business. And if I look up the address and it takes me to like some random like middle of nowhere virtual address, or it's like an address that just doesn't make sense, it's probably a dropshipping store. And so that tells me, well, this is a 6-month-old business. They're carrying these brands, which means they have selling agreements with them. Chances are my chances to get in the door with these particular manufacturing brands is higher than maybe some others on more established websites. And so that's who I'm reaching out to first. So it's not just a matter of identifying what manufacturers actually produce these items, because that's really easy. That's like, that's a Google search right there. That's a ChatGPT search right there. Where it becomes really interesting is how do you identify the ones that you can easily get in the door with? And I think a really good proxy for this is how old are the businesses that are actually carrying their products currently. So that's just kind of a little trick of the trade among many that we walk through step by step in the program. Again, link is in the description below. But finding suppliers is, again, a really straightforward thing. Now, a lot of times there's going to be situations where suppliers tell you no, and a good kind of comeback, if you will, or a good if you want to overcome their objection, is asking them if they have any third-party distributors that you might be able to work through. Not just accepting their answer, no, you can't work with us, and saying, okay, thanks. Say, okay, that's fine. Would you happen to have any third-party distributors that I could potentially buy your products through? And tell them, like, this isn't uncommon. I understand certain companies have different policies for working with online retail. Do you have any distributors I can work with? And I would say 8 times out of 10, the answer is yes. There are pros and cons of working with third-party distributors. The pros are you get instant access to a large handful of brands versus just one going direct with the manufacturer. What you sacrifice, though, is margins. I've worked with distributors with 30 to 35% margins in the past, and I've also worked with distributors that have like 10 to 15% margins. And this is just inherently how the math works. The distributor has to make money somehow, and the manufacturer has to make money somehow. So you can only take so much percentage out of a 100% of retail price. And so you're just inherently going to sacrifice a chunk of whatever margins you might have gotten from working directly with the manufacturer. And so actually identifying the distributors, you can do ChatGPT searches, and I can show you how to do this myself. But a lot of the time it's going to take actual like direct referrals from the manufacturer, because it's a lot easier at that point when you approach a distributor and you're like, well, John over at XYZ Total Stations Company said they partner with you guys and you guys might be a good idea to reach out to. And so that's why I'm here, and just wanted to see what kind of opportunities there might be to partner with you as a dealer. So that's just my 2 cents. I've been doing this for a pretty long time now as far as the high ticket dropshipping game. And I'm really good at getting suppliers. So if you're someone that's maybe not as confident on the phone, not as confident of a communicator, and you need help kind of jumpstarting your business and getting your foot in the door with suppliers, I do offer a service where I will actually get suppliers for your business. Quick blurb of how it works. I will get an email associated with your business's domain. So let's say it's the civil engineering, so civilengineeringdepot.com. I would get an email under your Google Workspace, joe@civilengineeringdepot.com, and I'll use that. And what I'm basically going to be doing is just using my cell phone. I'll be calling these companies on your behalf, and I'll just say I'm partnering with this company or this business, and we just wanted to see what kind of opportunities there would be to become an online dealer, something along those lines. I've done this for around 50 people so far, and it's worked out pretty successfully. So if you're interested in that, check out the link in the description below. There are going to be 3 links, one for my program, one for my supplier acquisition service, and then one for my Google Ads service. But if you're kind of earlier in the process, I would say the Google Ads is kind of farther down the line. So I'm going to wrap that up here. As always, let me know in the comments what you want me to talk about as far as high-ticket dropshipping goes. If you haven't, subscribe to the channel for daily high-ticket dropshipping content, and we'll see you guys tomorrow.